Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop for your week's episode of Saturday Night Special. So for the machining content this week, I've got some thread repair for you. I've got a pretty large gearbox at work that I had to set up in the board mill and put some thread inserts in. So I've got some video content of that, and I also revisit the twin or the pair of shafts that I shared in last week's episode. I've got some more updates on that, on the gearbox that they're going in, and I think you're going to like that. It's some pretty good shots there. I got some pictures to go along with it of this really nice large gearbox that's being put together at work right now by the guys. So that's going to be the machining content for this week. And I've also, at the beginning of the episode here, what I'd like to do is go back into that new G&E Shaper catalog that I just recently received. I showed some pictures of it last week, and I had quite a few guys interested in that catalog. So I brought it back out here, and we're going to set up and give you some better shots of the pictures that are in that catalog, because it is very interesting. And I had some guys that wanted to see those working pictures that are at the very back of the catalog there as well, showing the shapers in action. So we're going to set up, and we're going to talk about some books, show some pictures in the books. I think you guys will like that. All right, and I got a couple more things in this week that are G&E Shaper related. First off, Brian Leary, he works for Bajur. Most of you guys probably have heard of that. They're oilers that you typically find on machinery or on the side of machines. One-shot oilers or just any kind of lubrication systems is a lot of times they're made by Bajur. And so Brian Leary, he's one of the engineers. And he's contacted me a few times back when I was working on the Covell surface grinder and offered up to help with any parts that I might need for the oiler. But anyway, he had contacted me because I just recently made the oil sight for the G&E, and what he has done is he has sent out two of these sights here. These are the 1¼ OD glass sights, just straight through sights, and I plan on using one of these to make another oil sight for the G&E. We'll machine another piece of brass and have this to where it presses in, okay? And then that will be a nice simple oiler that'll kind of match the same height as the other ones that's on there. He also threw in a couple more that for me to keep around here, having my inventory. These are the 2-inch diameters, so these may be useful for another project down the road. So thank you very much, Brian. If you guys have any need for the Bajur products, you can go visit Motion Industries. They are a distributor for Bajur, and they should be able to sell you any of the parts that they make, okay? I did want to mention that you may hear a little bit of noise going on outside. My buddy Joe is here, and he is helping me with the new patio roof. He just got started on that yesterday, and so that work is going on, and I'll probably share a little bit of that with you this week. I'll get some video of it and share with you next week of the progress on that. But he's got his radio going outside there, and he's using his nail gun and an air compressor and that kind of stuff. So you probably hear a little bit of ambient noise from the outside of that going on. So another one of my viewers named John Geis, he heard my call for looking for some boring bar holders for the Shaper. And he has this guy right here, which is 1.5 inches, and it's got the 1.5 inch bar there. It holds your tool bits. And he sent this out here for me to use on the Shaper. So thank you very much, John, and that was very kind of him. By the way, he has got an eBay store, and it's called John's Tool Shop. Here's a shot of the card there, and he's got lots of cutters, drill bits, end mills, horizontal cutters, slitting saws, and things like that. So John's Tool Shop over there on eBay. Thank you very much for the boring bar holder, John. I really appreciate it. So regarding the cam plate for the G&E Shaper, this is the one that I borrowed that I've got a copy. So this does not perfectly fit my Shaper. This come off of a 24-inch model, industrial, and mine is the 32-inch. So evidently that was a little bit different in size. This does fit on my machine, but the difference is right here. This goes back further. If it was to sit in this channel right here, this goes back further and actually hits the bolts that holds down the top of the ramways there. So I've got to change up some of the dimensions here. So my viewer George, that has been helping me design this using Fusion 360, I've taken some fresh measurements. I've been just kind of jotting some different dimensions down here on this paper and sent them over to George, and he is making some changes so that I can make one that's actually going to fit the 32-inch model like mine, like it should be. So that's just a little update there, and we should be getting started on this pretty soon. I'm excited to get it made. I think one or two of you noticed this guy right here. This is a planer and shaper gauge. It is the Starrett model 599, and this was an eBay score. I had put in a bid on it on eBay. It was like 10 bucks whenever I had bid on it, and it stayed, I think it stayed at like 12 bucks for a little while. So anyway, I bumped it up a little bit because I thought it was a pretty good deal and it was in good shape. So I ended up winning it, and I didn't pay a whole lot of money for it. So really good score right there, and it's in really good shape. This as received, so I need to do a little bit of cleaning and fine polishing on it. But I think maybe later on we can get into the topic of these planer and shaper gauges and how they can be used. All right, so just wanted to share that with you. Okay guys, so this is the catalog that I received, as well as the parts books from Tom Coutron a couple weeks ago, and I shared this last weekend, and some of you guys had some interest in seeing it, so we're going to check it out. And I apologize if it's going to get a little bit of glare on the page. I'm trying to get it well lit up here so that it looks good on video, but you know, it's always a trial and error with what we do here. So there's a nice picture of the front of the page of a nice big tool bit, and that's the style tool bit that I want to get set up and have ready to go on the shaper. So let's take a look through this thing and check it out. And oh, by the way, I was going to mention this. So I've already talked to Keith Fenner. He actually stopped by and visited me the other day because he's in town for meetings. And I'm going to send him these catalogs, and he is going to scan them. He's got a book scanner, and that way whenever he lays the books in there, he can lay them at an angle like that, and it doesn't mess the books up. So he is going to scan all these so that everybody can enjoy these online later on. So there's the vices that were optioned on the machine, and a picture of the crank, the block that slides to the crank. There's the bull gear. This is the block that attaches to the bull gear right here, and then the top, this is where you adjust your ram position. Okay, there's a good shot of what the transmission looks like in the back of the shaper there. Getting a good look at how the machine is actually built, and this is very, very similar to my machine. Even though this is a model newer, it's very similar. There's not much difference. Lubrication system. That's the design of the knee and the table there. So that's something that would be nice to have right there, is the automatic tool lifter, and that is to lift the clapper box for the backstroke so it doesn't drag on the tool. I'm not exactly sure how that works though. Somebody said it's pretty easy to make, but I don't know how this lifts the tool on the backstroke. I'd actually need to see one operating. There's a shot of the cam plate and the automatic downfeed. All right, so the universal, that's the one that I have. That's that guy right there. And then you had the plain tool room style, which has the flat table that you can use either side. So that's the jib crane that I have a lot of interest in right here. I think that would be an excellent project for the shop. It would be a little challenging, but you know, an excellent project and a good versatile tool for the shaper there, so I wouldn't have to worry about the A-frame, which is always in the way out here, by the way. So I think that's a really cool option that they did, and I sure wish mine already had it on there, but maybe we'll add that to our project list. All right, and then we have this guy too, and I really like this. This is kind of like you would, most of you guys kind of know what the mini pallets are all about now that you use in a milling machine. This is kind of like that, except it's much larger. So I could probably build one of these, since I have the smaller universal table, and have a much larger area on the shaper for clamping things down. Also could be used in conjunction with something like this. So this is your index centers. This is what you would use if you was, say, cutting a spline shaft. You'd put that between the centers, and then this indexes it. So this is a cool feature. By the way, I did a search on eBay for one of those and could not find one at all. So another one of those hidden gems. All right, and then so here's some of the pictures that the guys wanted to see of the machines in operation. Let me see if I can kind of zoom you in on some of these pictures here. So that's the hydraulic taper attachment right there. Tracer attachment, I keep calling it. It's a tracer attachment, so you can follow a contour on a contoured piece. That's another shot with the hydraulic follower. That's a cool picture right there. 32 inch, which is the size I have, shaped in slots in stainless steel paper refining disc. See if we can get in there, see that? There we go. Cool picture. There's another cool picture of a shaper in operation. See the grooves that it is machining there? That would be a lot trickier to do in a milling machine, although yes, you can do that in a milling machine, but how cool would it be to do that on a shaper? A great way to make use of it. All right, so there's some kind of, let's see, shaping a press bolster plate in there at an angle, getting in there and cutting it out. Shaping V-ways of a scraping gauge, so you can do your rough machining on a straight edge in a shaper. All right, and then let's see, there's another one right there. Shaping internal oil grooves in a valve body. So doing some internal shaping there. All right, and then last picture. Shaping an airplane crankshaft cheeks using follower attachment. Pretty cool. All right, and then this last page right here is all the specifications for the different style, different size machines. All right, and that's it. There's a good shot at the back of the book. All right, I'll go ahead and just show you these real quick. That's the operating instructions and then the parts list. I'm not going to go through these. I was just sharing them with you. Really nice, clean condition. So we're going to leave those just like they are. I'm going to put them back up in the folder. I'm going to show you a couple more things for reference here. So I did pick up another item off eBay, and I got this book right here called General Industrial Machine Shop. And you recognize what is on the cover of that book? That is the same machine that I have. That is a G&E shaper. Very cool. But these are the kind of books that I really like, involving anything manual machine shop related. So these are the kind of books that, this was from a public school in Lakewood, Ohio. But these are the kind of books right here that cover everything involving machine shop. I mean, it's just got everything. So what I was going to say was that if you guys would like to see some of these chapters in this book, we'll do a quick flip through. So don't blink. It covers everything. All manual machining, tools, layouts, measuring, I mean, all that kind of stuff. And it even goes over all the machines too, all the machines that you would see in the shop. But another reason why I did pick it up is because of the chapter on shapers. Okay, look at here. There's my machine again, the G&E shaper. So that's the one that's on the front cover pretty much. And then that is a hydraulic shaper. So if you'd like to see some of this book, leave me a comment. Maybe we can do some more segments on SNS of this right here. Okay? And one more. I have these manuals. Now these were given to me by a viewer, and I do not remember who that was, but this is another excellent catalog right here. There's actually breakdowns in here, and then this first one is a catalog for Monarch on the Series 61 lathes, and flipping through these books is just fabulous, man. They have some awesome pictures in here showing the engineers and the builders and the research and development of the Monarch lathes. Just really, really good stuff in these catalogs. Look at those old pictures there. So that's just a little teaser. If you'd like to see some of the Monarch book, drop me a comment, let me know, and we'll do a segment on that, okay? This is a shaft that I'm just having to clean up. Need to do a little bit of polishing and get rid of that surface rust on there and polish up the seal fit. But there's also one other thing on here that I need to try to fix if I can. This little piece right here, it's like a thin steel cover plate, and let me turn the lathe on and show you what we're talking about. It's got a bend in it. You see it? Got a little bang on it, and what I'm going to try to do is, there it is right there. So we're going to try to pull this dent out a little bit without damaging it, and I'm going to try to do it without pulling out the hammers and punches. So let me see what I can come up with. I got this tool here with a ball bearing that's bolted to the end of it. It's kind of like the little tool trick that you use to indicate something in a 3-jaw chuck. So we're going to bring that inside there and see if I can roll that thing true. I know it's hard to see, but the best angle I can get for you. Working it ever so slightly with the cross slide here. Alright, it's getting it out. See where it's at. Alright, so it's right in here. I'm going to keep working it. See if we can roll that sucker right on out of there. I got most of it out. There's still a little bit left right there, but this may work. It just has to fit over something right there. So what I'm doing now is just bringing it in there, and I'm just rotating it by hand in that one spot to try to work that one little area out. But it is working. It needs to be getting it out of there. See, there's not much left. There's one little dent there. So I think we did good on that. Pretty good little tool. So I have a thread repair to do on this housing here. This is the vertical output gearbox that the guys are getting ready to build. And some of these holes here are stripped out or cross-threaded. So we're going to do threaded inserts. These guys right here. So you line up on the hole, drill it, tap it, screw this in, and then drive these tangs down in there with the tool right here. And that's how you repair the threads. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get this set up in the bore mill. First thing I do is I take a square butt here and get it eyeball square with the bottom edge and bump it around using a soft blow hammer. Alright, we got it pretty close. Got to put a couple strap clamps on the ends here, or toe clamps. Just lightly snug them down. Added 2 more toe jacks to these little lifting rings, one on each side there to help give it a little bit more support. I'm gonna bring the indicator up to this face and I'm gonna sweep it back and forth this way and get it bumped square. Just gonna go to our first 0 there and we'll rapid it across. It looks like it's gonna be pretty far out because the indicator was moving. Yep, so we're pretty good ways out. I'm gonna come back to this side and bump it back. All right, here's another instance where I keep my earplugs right here in my pocket. I don't like that noise smacking my eardrums. Okay, we got about halfway there. Getting close. So that's 2 thousandths. I think we're about 7, so not far. Take it to 0. Alright, that's 2 thousandths, so we're going to keep tweaking that until we get it really, really close there. Okay? So now we'll check it up and down. Look at that. Man, bottom squared up real nicely. Okay, we don't have to touch that, so we're going to go ahead and finish clamping her down. So I kind of messed up, and I'll just say that I'm going to use the excuse that it's Monday and it's only 7:30 and I've only had 1 cup of coffee. This isn't the whole pattern that I've got to do the thread inserts with. It's this whole pattern right here. These are the 3/4 holes. These inner ones are 5/8. On the other side they're 5/8. So he did show that to me Friday, and it was at the very end of the day, and I was like, yeah, we can do that. So I just kind of wasn't really paying attention, but no problem. We can swivel this table. I'm gonna move these clamps, unlock it, and we can swivel this table, and that back end should be squared up nicely. This is the lock key right here that squares it up. This has been hardened, ground to size, and all 4 sides have that notch in it. And you tap that in there lightly and it squares it up perfectly. Wipe the table off, get rid of the little chips. once I get it indicated, I come in here and I wipe out that key, or the socket anyway, and wipe the key. This is hardened and that's hardened to provide some longevity against the wear. I take it, snug the nut by hand, and then just take a soft blow and tap it. Alright, that's seated. Snug it lightly. Lock it in, and then reinstall the 4 clamps like this one here. What I'm going to do to indicate each one of the holes is I'm going to use this 3/4 inch bolt, and we're going to put it in the Jacobs rubber flex collet here. I'll give it a little face just to clean it up, and then we're going to put a very small center drill in this, and then we'll screw this into the hole. It'll be snug. We'll screw it in there, and then we'll locate the center of the bolt. We'll use my little Jacobs baby 8.5N Super Chuck. Drill us a little center hole in it. Be very careful with these small center drills. A slight amount of misalignment will break it very easily. There's our indicating bolt. And I can't find the socket. You know that's how it works. The one socket that you need is always missing from the set. Somebody else has probably borrowed it. There it is. Okay. I'm going to use a ground center point to get me really close to the center of the bolt there. I'm just moving the table by hand with the hand wheel over here, just kind of eyeballing it. That's the tip we're going to use, spring loaded. Put it on our stop rod. Alright, and we're in a pretty good range there, so we're going to push it back. I'm going to bring the quill out and then stick it right up in there. Okay, now we're ready to indicate. Okay, let's see. Side to side. That put us there, didn't it? We're within about 2 thousandths on that indicator. Just kind of bumping it in. Alright, that is going to be close enough for what we're doing with a thread insert. That's within 1 thousandths on the indicator, when we should be very close. First thing we're going to start with is a chamfering tool and chamfer the hole out some, bevel it, if you will, so that it provides a good machine surface for the drill, the tap drill, to go into. Just checking the hole. That's still a factory grind on that drill bit, so it should be cutting good. A few thousandths over, but we're doing good. All right, once it's drilled, you want to chamfer it again. Should work right there. Now we're going to tap it. So this is the tap size we have to use, 1 1/8-12, and I've got it marked on there about a 1/4 inch shy of the bottom of the hole with the yellow paint marker there. And what we're going to use to drive this is this guy right here. It's a number 5 Morse taper made by Scully Jones. And this is a tap driver. This is made for 1 1/8 taps. So it'll fit the square in there to drive it and the shank once you bump it in there. It's a little loose there, but once you drive it down into the socket, it will tighten up on it. And we'll use that to drive it in there, get it nice and straight. And then I'll go in there with a bottom tap to bottom tap the hole. You know, tap it all the way to the bottom, I mean. Just watching that line come up to the face there. It shouldn't bottom out because I got clearance there. I'm gonna go right there, back it out. Now we got our bottom tap. This whole set's nice and brand new, by the way, so I love a brand new tap, man. Put a little bit of oil, just a little drop of oil up in there. And we're just gonna He-Man it up to the bottom, right? Maybe not today. We'll just go ahead and use our green fill number 7. It's all the way in. Let's see if it fits. It's got a good fit on the threads. Okay, man, that's going to work out great right there. So need to get my other scale. I got my hook scale there. I usually make it just below the surface. So here's the install tool. You slide that sleeve around the 4 tangs, and you just hit this with a hammer to drive them all in there, and knows what keeps that in place. That's it, right there. So there's the first one that you just seen me install. So we got several more to go. We're gonna go all the way around and repair every one of these. They all have damaged threads, pulled or stripped or whatever. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Now, I'm not gonna show every single one, so that was, I just wanted to show the first step, and then I'll bring you back once all those are done. So, you know, kind of go over again. We're gonna indicate it, chamfer it, drill it, tap it, and then install the insert. Okay, we'll bring you back later. We're on the very top holes, and I'm almost topped out on my travel. We got maybe 1.5 inches left to go, so I'm having to reach way up here to operate the controls. Put it in neutral. Alright, that should be it. All right, guys, we got them all finished up. All 12 holes drilled, tapped, and our inserts in there. And it's ready to go. I hope you enjoyed watching that. So here are a couple things. These particular thread inserts, we buy these from McMaster Car. They're called key locking thread repair insert. You can get a couple different versions of it. These are the heavy duty ones. And you get them in whatever size you need. You can also buy the little install tool to knock the tangs in there. All right, so that's where you can get those in case you're wondering. Now, you might have seen in a real previous video a shaft. Well, I still got down there in the lathe. We'll look at it again. But that shaft that I had to straighten up, that thin piece of steel that had a dent in it, I told you it fits over something. So that shaft fits through here, and it's going to go over this piece as well. So that's why we had to get the dent out of it, so that it wouldn't rub right there. We'll go down there and take a look at that and see how that come out. But this one's done. I just need to get it finished up, cleaned up, unbolted, and fly it out of there. And maybe you noticed we do have some nice weather down here in Florida right now. All right, so you see me working on this. I think we pretty well got the dent out of it. We're going to spin it up so you can see. We got one little minor dent left, but it's going to clear now, so no worries on that. So all I got left to do is just polish up this end. Got a little groove right there. This is where your seal runs, so we're just going to polish that up, brighten this end up right here. Okay, so the two shafts that I showed last week being machined, let's go in this box right here. So this is one of them. That's one of the shafts. Let's come over here and check out the other one. Tim's giving it a little spin for us. That's the other shaft. That's why I've been calling them the twin shafts. Now, are these the inputs?
These are the yes, inputs.
The input shafts. I believe on the other side, outside of this, is going to be coupled to electric motors.
This side here, yes.
Yeah.
That side's covered.
Okay. All right. It's looking good, man. It's nice and clean and pretty in there. You can see the reduction. And this is about a 20-inch bore on this big gear. And it was machined new out of a solid piece of steel. Whether it was hollow or not when they started, I don't know. But it is a solid piece. There we go. Check out that output. Looking good, man.